Good evening, everyone. It is the Speed Learner once again at another remote location, not Nelson Park, but hopefully tomorrow I will be at Nelson Park. I just wanted something a little quieter this time. As you can see, you can't get much quieter than this. Alrighty. Now, the first thing I'm going to do tonight, I'm going to do a lot of stuff tonight. The first thing I'm going to do is I ended up contacting an atheist, and she told me that Jesus doesn't exist. Well, I beg to differ. I'm going to show you in writings that are not Christian writings. These people were not Christian, okay? But yet, they testified that Jesus Christ did exist. Here's the first one. It is from the Babylonian Talmud in the Sanhedrin section 43a. And it was taught, on the eve of Passover, Yeshua the Nazarene was hanged. For 40 days before the execution took place, a herald went forth and cried, "He is going forth to be stoned because he has practiced sorcery and enticed Israel to apostasy. Anyone who can say anything in his favor, let him come and plead on his behalf." And since nothing was brought forward in his favor, he was hanged on the eve of Passover. That's a Jewish writing. And the Jews didn't believe in Jesus. Matter of fact, they were so angry with him, they wanted him crucified. And I'm not talking about all Jews, okay? These were people part of the Sanhedrin. They wanted Jesus crucified. They weren't real Jews anyway. But that's another story for another day. But just know that those particular Jews did not believe in Jesus, and they wanted him crucified. Period. Now, let's go to Mr. Tacitus. He was a Roman historian. Obviously not a Christian. And this was written in the 15th book of the Annals. Such indeed were precautions of human wisdom. The next thing was to seek means of proprietating the gods, and recourse was had to the Syllabine books, by the director of which prayers were offered to Vulcans, Ceres, and Proserpina. Juno, too, was entreated by matrons, first in the capital, then on the nearest part of the coast, whence water was procured to sprinkle the fane and image of the goddess. And there was sacred banquets and nightly vigils celebrated by married women. But all human efforts, all the lavish gifts of the emperor, and the appropriations of the gods did not banish the sinister belief that the conflagration was the result of an order. Consequently, to get rid of the report, Nero fastened the guilt and inflicted the most exquisite tortures on a class hated for their abominations, called Christians by the populace. Christius, from whom the name had its origin, suffered the extreme penalty during the reign of Tiberius at the hands of one of our procurators, Pontius Pilate, and a most mischievous superstition, thus checked for the moment, again broke out not only in Judea, the first source of the evil, but even in Rome, where all things hideous and shameful from every part of the world find their center and become popular. Accordingly, an arrest was first made of all who pleaded guilty. Then, upon their information, an immense multitude was convicted, not so much of the crime of firing the city as of hatred against mankind. Mockery of every sort was added to their deaths. Covered with the skin of beasts, they were torn by dogs and perished, or were nailed to crosses, or were doomed to the flames and burnt to serve as a nightly illumination when daylight had expired. This is from a Roman historian. Not from Christians, but a Roman historian. But there's going to be more proof in my next video. And you're going to be really shocked about what I present. But it gets better. Because you see, not only do the Christians believe in Jesus, and the Jews certainly believed enough to have him crucified, but the Romans also believed that Jesus existed because they had him crucified. But on top of that, ask any Arab if Jesus ever existed, and they'll tell you yes. They don't believe that Jesus was crucified, but they do believe he existed, and they actually believe that Jesus was taken from this earth before the crucifixion. That's a lot of belief right there. So now you have Jewish people that believe that Jesus existed. You have Roman people that believe that Jesus existed. You have Arab people that believe that Jesus existed. And you have Christians that believe that Jesus existed. But I want you to hear more before you make your final decision. Stay tuned.